Hello, hello. It is so good to see you guys. I hope you're having a lovely day. Today, I am extending my comfort zone and I am going live. This is the first time I think I've gone live in a long time. Oh, good to see you guys. Oh, there we are. I love it. Fabulous. Oh, this is not so bad. Not so bad at all. Just wanted to take this opportunity and speak with you a little bit about the May 3rd event. It is unique in the sense that it's counterculture. It's not typically an event that we would think about gathering around and having discussion around, and that's exactly why I think that we need to do this. We're trying to be proactive on purpose, purposely proactive. We need women that are willing to show up for other women, women who are not in the thick of things, women who don't necessarily identify with the topic currently, to show up for other women who may be struggling slightly with the topic or in the middle or in the thick of it. This is how we push back. This is how we make changes. We gather for goodness and sometimes talk about things proactively versus reactively. It puts us in a better position. I love that. I love that. Not easy to market. Well, hello there. Thanks for joining, Monica. So good to see you. All right. So it's a heavy topic on May 3rd. It's women supporting women with aging parents and or the loss of a parent. It's purposely broad. So we are capturing all ages and stages of women. There's so much power and knowledge when we come together, all of us, different ages and stages, and talk about this really important topic. That's what we do at Heart-Led Transitions. We pull and shine the light on topics that are not necessarily favorable or topics that we necessarily want to talk about, topics we shy away from. We want to shine the light on those topics and have some engaging conversations. Yes, thank you for being here today. Hi, Alyssa. So our topic is broad on purpose because we're trying to be proactive. We're trying to pull women together to talk about topics that aren't necessarily easy to talk about, that we don't necessarily talk about naturally on our own, and we want to be proactive. So we want women who have gone through this when they were younger. We want women who are currently going through this. We want women who went through this a few years ago, and we want women that it's not even on their radar yet to come together, because we are certainly better together. It's broad on purpose. We are counterculture. I know that. That's why I thought I'd make this live so that we can jump into this. This is one of the top 6 transitions that women stress about. And I know this by looking at national data, and I know this also by looking at local data. So local and national data both tell us that as women, having aging parents and or the loss of a parent can be a stressful event. Oh, I just noticed I see my Olight, and yes, I've got the same reflection on my glasses. Oh well, I'm just gonna have to get over myself. So it's a stressful time in our lives. And I don't know about you, but I often don't know what to say to other women when they're going through this, especially when they lose a parent. It's an awkward conversation. You want to say something, but sometimes we're just not sure what to say. I know when I lost my dad to brain cancer, it was silence. I mean, I really didn't hear much from anyone, especially from women who I thought would reach out. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't necessarily get notes or cards. There were a few people, but I can tell you it was mostly very silent. And I think that's just the uncomfortableness of this topic. We don't really know how to support each other. We don't want to say the wrong thing. We don't want to offend them. So I think it's super important that we shed some light on this and support each other with this topic. So I know it's in a topic that it's pretty easy to feel alone during this time. Anyone have any thoughts on this topic? Is it challenging for anyone else when we lose a parent? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then how many of us don't necessarily know what to say to support someone else who may be going through this? Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So let's talk about this May 3rd event specifically. It is not necessarily a grief and loss event. Again, we're a counterculture. We're trying to be proactive. We're trying to layer you with levels of support. And this event is really to talk about how we can take care of ourselves with very basic things that are not necessarily therapeutic in nature, things that don't call for professional services, just basic self-care. How do we raise awareness around how we can support ourselves, and then how do we support others during this time? So those are our two round table discussion items. So where is this? This event is in Littleton, Colorado. And who is it for? Well, it's for women who are willing to support other women, even if they're not in the thick of it. They're willing to show up and to listen and to hear other women. Or it is also for women who are in the thick of it, who are about to go through it or have been through it in the past. So yes, counterculture, super broad, the opposite of what we do typically with marketing, because we are really trying to pull on universal support for each other. We are flipping our mental health model upside down. So when we look at mental health, we typically think of coaching, counseling, therapeutic, crisis response, and all of those things fall in this middle tier. Crisis response falls here. Where we are is this bottom tier. It's really going back to the basics in terms of what we need to support ourselves and others. And that's gathering. That's a hard sell. It's a hard sell to teach people that it's super important to gather and talk about critical times in our life and be proactive. So gathering is a universal way that we can take care of ourselves and others. So who is this event for? This event is for all women, all ages and stages of life. And why? Why are we doing it? Well, because we're better together. And I don't know about you, but I am tired of being reactive in terms of mental health. My calling is to flip that model upside down and to really look at some of those basic things that we can do that are preventive in nature, that are proactive in nature, that are not so reactive in nature. So I can tell you numbers of stories around working with children and families that are in crisis. I mean, I would see it over and over again in truancy. You would see it in suicide risk assessments. And really the first thing that we would do after we had assessed the level of risk is dial it back and then dial it back again and fill in that lower level. That lower level is where we have a lot of gaps in mental health. And so that's what we're trying to do with this event is work with women before they're in the middle of this, or before they're in grief and loss to the extreme. Now, that doesn't mean we don't want all women to come. Obviously, that's how we can pour into each other. So yes, if you're a woman and you're in the Littleton area, you may be called to come to this upcoming event. So how do you come? Please go to our website. That's www.heartledtransitions.com, and look at our events section. And there is a place to register for this event there. And you'll receive an email with additional details around the event. All of our events are free. We are a nonprofit. We are proactive versus reactive. And we hope that you will sign up online and register. Board members, I need you also to register. If you are a guest nonprofit coming to this event, please register as well, because that helps me stay organized. It helps us stay organized and keep you up to date. Registration is free, even though it says buy ticket. Those tickets are $0. It's just a process and the way we have our website set up. Not a problem to be solved. Just the way we have our website set up. And then details, the who, what, where, when, and why of this event. May 3rd at 9:30 a.m. If you are called to show up at 9 and help with setup, please do. We are volunteer ran, so we encourage you to participate. There is a lot of beauty when we all come together as volunteers to set events like this up and do something for others. And the more and more I practice these things, the more and more I learn that when I pour into others and do these events, I'm actually supporting myself in a very indirect way. So we have an agenda online when you go to register that kind of breaks down what we're doing. And there's some flexibility. Please allow for some flexibility. We're a new organization. Oh, yes, absolutely. Karen, I see your comment. Yes, you are free to leave early if you may. Don't feel like you have to stay for the entire time. I would love for you to, but I understand. I'd rather have you there for some versus none of the events. Yes, perfect. So we were going to have an extended day. And so we were going to have our morning events, and then we're going to have an after party. And the after party was going to be testimony sharing. Super powerful testimony sharing. The challenges with that were it made a really long day. And I just had some concerns about the topic and how heavy it could be for some of us, because we are working with people of all ages and stages, and we're being proactive versus reactive, and we're not therapeutic in nature. So the length of the day became a concern. So we shortened our day, and we are having one testimony, and that is one of our board members. And then we're going to find a way to share all of those other beautiful testimonies, probably through video. And then that gives us a way to refer back to them, and it gives people a library that they can go to for inspiration. So what does this event look like? Like, break it down. So in the very beginning, we're going to start welcoming people in at 9. Those are our volunteers that are helping us with setup. We're going to have some linen tablecloths. We'll have some heart decor on every table. We'll be setting up the food. I am making all of the food. Well, that's not entirely true. I'm doing some platters that are pre-planned ahead of time as well. So I'll do some quiche, and I've been perfecting my quiche. I've had some practice with that. It comes out different every time because I tend not to follow a recipe, but I haven't had any major complaints yet. So we'll do a quiche. We'll do hash brown casserole, and we'll do some fruits and some fruit salads, some meats, some cheeses, maybe some breakfast bread. We'll have all of that out At 9:30, we'll make sure that somebody is there to greet all of our guests as they come in. We are looking for table hosts, and I'll kind of tag on to the end of this video to tell you a little bit about being a table host. And after we do our mix and our mingle and eat our breakfast, we'll get right into our agenda. We'll start with an opening, just kind of a broad overview of what Heart-Led Transitions is, because it's not typical. This is why we are a public charity. We are really having to push back. We are a nonprofit, so we don't offer coaching, we don't offer counseling. So just kind of going over and doing an introduction to what we are, and then we'll do a short connection activity. We'll talk a little bit about what it means to be a heart listener. That means really actively listening when people are speaking. And then we'll have a beautiful testimony from our board member, Lori. And then we'll lead into roundtable discussions regarding our 2 questions on how do we take care of ourselves and how do we take care of others. Then we'll have a lovely closing. And then we'll have prayer. I know I will be praying in the back of the room. Not all of us choose to go to prayer, and we're fine with that. There is no forced or expectation around that. It's just something that we do and find very, very powerful. And it's a core belief of our organization. So that will be what the morning will look like. I think we'll have a lovely time. I'll just tag on and talk to you now about table host. What are table hosts? And table host is something super, super simple. I don't want it to be overcomplicated. I know that when I go to events and I don't know someone, I have anxiety, social anxiety. And even when I know a lot of people, I still have quite a bit of anxiety around walking into that space. And I'm kind of awkward. And it helps me when I have an anchor person, when someone walks directly up to me, introduces themselves, and welcomes me. So a table host is someone who is willing to make sure that they're greeting everyone who comes in, introducing themselves, engaging kind of in small talk, welcoming them, listening to them, and then kind of guiding them, making sure they have somewhere to sit so that they're not sitting alone. If they don't have a table to sit at, give them a recommendation, welcome them, invite them to sit next to you. And when you bring them over to your table, super simple, look around, see who else is sitting there, see if they know each other. If they don't know each other, kind of facilitate some easy, simple introductions, and just be there, be a listening person, a welcoming person, a warm person, a loving person. And then when we move into our roundtable discussion, make sure that that person has a chance to speak and that nobody else interrupts them. So that's just a table host. It's also helpful if the table hosts know the agenda and flow so that they can address any questions. They can run through it with people coming in that may have never been to an event or may have any concerns around the event, what to do. Our table host also will make sure that whoever is there signs in. So table host, if you would like to be a table host, please reach out and let me know, because we'll need a few of those. Those are just welcoming, smiling faces. I try to talk to everyone at these events. I myself am just a ball of nerves for the most part. And so I'm even more awkward than I am right now at these events. And I want to make sure that I'm noticing and that everyone who walks in that room knows that they matter and that they're loved and that they're welcomed. And so table hosts just help with the facilitation of that, because it's hard for one person or for board members to do that as well, because we are expecting around 50 people. So now that I've blabbed on, I hope that that helps with clear up and answer some of your questions about this event. And if you haven't registered, please, 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 please do so, because we need women in our community to show up for other women. And that need is huge. That need is huge. We have a mental health crisis in South Metro Denver, in Denver, in Colorado, and in our country. So we need to start right here with supporting each other at critical times. And this is your way to do it. This is our way to give back to each other. This is our way to love on each other in a way that is so simple, yet so overlooked in many different ways. I know it's a Friday, and I know many of you are working, and I completely understand that. On the flip side, when our events are on weekends, we're competing with family time, and we're competing with activities that kids may have and children may have. And I can tell you, if I could go back in time and someone would have offered this event to me prior to my father passing, and I had a chance to be proactive versus reactive in that stage of my life, I would have jumped on it. It's so important. It's so important. It would have been so important for me, and it would have been so important and such an opportunity for me to be able to pour in and support others as well. So it's just one day. The thing I love about our events is they are just one day events. There's no expectation to come to all 6 events that we're offering this year. There's no expectation for anything beyond this event. There's no follow-up. There's no commitments in regards to coming to a therapeutic type setting or a coaching setting or a support group. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. It just removes all of those burdens. It is one commitment early in the morning. Well, not early, one morning. It just, there's so many benefits. I could do another video on that. Anyways, get registered. Oh, yes, yes. Caitlin, I saw your registration come in. I'm so glad that you're coming. Fabulous. Okay, see you soon. Have a blessed day.